Hey guys, welcome back, and today a little bit of a change of pace. This morning we're heading over to Rob Keehner's house, who is easily probably one of the fastest drivers I've ever raced with or against or whatever you may call it. And he says there he has a recipe pretty much, and that is setting up his car, and that there by design there is a reason he's really fast. Well, he's been getting his Civic race car, which is a 240 wheel horsepower stripped out full race spec 8th gen Civic. So he's pretty much got it dialed in and ready for SCCA Nationals in Nebraska that are in a few days, but he's got to do his alignment and all that stuff. Now, I've touched on a video with alignments a little bit when I was doing the EF, and I had some requests. Some people actually want to see a real setup video. So this video here today is going to be a very technical dive. Rob's going to do most of the talking, explaining his process for what him and his co-driver Duane do to get prepared and make sure the car is dialed in and drives as fast as humanly possible. Maybe I'll learn a thing or two, and probably when I get this thing here ready for some more real action, maybe I'll go to him to get it corner balanced and aligned to full-on race spec. So today we're going to learn the key factor of how to win SCCA Nationals Championship in this here car, and that is how to do a proper alignment. And Rob is going to walk us through it from beginning to end.
Hey, I'm Rob, and this is my 2007 Honda Civic Si, and this is a prepared class car, so it's very, very light. It's 2,090 pounds is our race weight, so it's a 2-liter engine, and we're in a displacement to weight class. And so to get the car down to minimum weight, we actually have to get the car below weight, and then we ballast it back up. And a part of getting the performance back out of the car when you have that level of power to weight ratio is to make sure the car is aligned properly. It really makes a big difference. The cars get a lot more sensitive to it. So this car is adjustable on caster, camber, and tow. Here we're starting out with step one, which is setting up a flat base to set the car up on. And so you can see I've got my scale pads laid out already. They're bolstered up a little bit in the back for the slope of the garage. And the key part to getting them perfectly level is a construction laser. And so some people don't think that these are real accurate. I think that they're great. So if you get down here close, you can see I've got a plumb bob hung from the ceiling, and it's right on the bottom of the laser. And then what I do is I level the laser, and the reason I hang the plumb bob is to get that last couple of degrees of accuracy. So you can see it is hitting the string right on the top up there when it comes back. And the reason is because when I adjust to the height, this laser is exactly 39 centimeters right here all the way around. And so each scale pad is now leveled and they're adjusted in height. And so if I come to this pad, you can see they're all exactly in height. And so I'm trying to get within, a laser width, a millimeter roughly right here, because this is a street car, it's flexible. So you don't have to be absolutely perfect, but getting it this perfect is very helpful in making sure that you have a good flat working plane to set the car up in. You can see on the pads here, one of the first steps is we make sure the pad is roughly level, and so we use just a cheap bubble level for that. And then the next step is obviously we get the laser out and we fine tune the pad in, so the pad is both level and at an equal plane to all the other pads. So the next step is we'll actually bring the car in here and we'll do a course adjustment on our corner balance. So the car's already aligned, so we'll do that next. So before I get going on the car, I'm just gonna show you my alignment kit that we're gonna use. This is a really old set of long acre scales. I bought these, 15 years ago from a guy that was doing monster trucks actually. So they're pretty versatile. You could do just about any car. And then this is my toolbox here. If I'm doing a new car and a new floor, I can snap lines on the floor, so I keep a chalk string in here. Here's my plumb bob that you saw when we were setting up the scales. I use a bubble level for camber. This does camber and caster. It's reasonably accurate. There are better ones out there, but this one's easy for me, and it's easy to do a lot of different cars with it. And it's generally been accurate enough. I keep a set of 6-inch Mitutoyo calipers in here. These are really handy. And then one of the other things, this is what I use as my favorite tool because it's really light and it's got a square edge on it, is just a regular plain scale. You can get these from MSC or wherever. I keep bubble levels in here like this. These are handy for leveling things. I keep a string level for certain cars. I don't use these very often. I keep a nice flat ring in here. I use this. This is a coilover ring. I actually use this to set the against a wheel, so that way I have a flat surface on the back that's machined. And then for my strings, I actually use a set of old Zebco fishing reels, and so I tie this to the string kit here, and then these will rest over the back, and the reel actually gives you a little bit of weight to make the string nice and taut, so it's nice and straight. And then this is the string kit. These are available everywhere, and it's just a steel rod with some grooves in the end, and then an adjustable framing so you can adjust it to any car. These are available at any major race outfit. But that's what we use, and we'll do a very, very accurate alignment to within 1/4 of a millimeter even, probably on toe and stuff if we really want to get close. So you can get very, very accurate with this. So it's really good stuff to use in a garage. Now we've pulled the car in and put them on the pad. So next step is we adjust the tire pressure to your race pressure. So you want the car with its tire pressure, the suspension, everything in situ like you're going to be on the track, and that obviously includes your tire pressure. So I'll go around, we're going to put 28 in the front and 23 in the back, which is what we run on this car on a hot run. Okay, so here's my scale pad setup. We went ahead and you want to plug your scales in. If you have a wired scale setup like this early, you want to plug it in nice and early, and you want your power supply to get warm. So this is warm to the touch, because these load cells produces a 0 to 5 volt output, so you want everything to be warm and plugged in and at temperature so that you can get an accurate 0. If you plug in your scales and you just start running them, they will shift a little bit in weight. So you want to go ahead and plug them in, give them a 0, let them warm up, and then 0 them again. Then the next thing I do is I go around and I stand on each pad, and I make sure that each pad is producing the same amount of body weight on each pad. So that way I know each pad is calibrated closely. And so we have here on the board what the car weighed the last time I aligned it. And so here are the corner weights. We'll go ahead and show you. Here are the corner weights. So it's about 700 pounds in the front and about 400 pounds in the rear. And so we weigh at SCCA, it's car only, there's no driver. I'm 185 pounds with my gear on, so the total weight of the car was 2264. And what we're really after here when we're doing this is an accurate cross weight. So my co-driver, he's a bigger guy than me. What I do is I weigh the car and I skew it just a little bit to the middle. So it's a 50.1% cross weight was what we had the last time. And that makes sure that the car brakes evenly and then also turns left and right the same. And so that's very important. If I adjusted the car to 50.0 with me in it, when Duane gets in the car, it's off significantly. So we try and kind of fudge the number between us so the car handles well for both of us. Here were my alignment settings the last time I did it. Full empty out of fuel, the car was 2061, empty of fuel, and then these were the alignment settings that I had when I checked my alignment. And so we're running about 3.1 degrees of camber, and see out of fuel with without the ballast in it, you can see the corner weights are a little bit lighter. 2.3 degrees of camber in the back, and I run a lot of toe out in the back. It's got a 1/8 inch of toe out on both rear tires, so it has a toe out on all corners, and that allows this front wheel drive car to rotate and really get through the corners well. We sustain about 1.6 G's on good pavement in a corner with this car, so it's very, very fast. It's a potent car in the corners and slaloms really, really well. So the next step we'll do is we're gonna do a rough check on the corner balance, and then we're going to go through the alignment settings and make sure that they're correct, because I built a new exhaust and I pulled a ballast brick and I did some other work, so I'm assuming that the car's changed a little bit. So the next step will be our test weigh. We're going to see what the car weighs. It already has its fuel in it, so this should be its race weight. So I hope when we roll it on the scales here, it'll be really close to 2090.
Yeah, we're on. All right, is that centered? 50.2. And now another thing that can be handy is while he's in, just to make sure the suspension settles. Sometimes we'll do this, like I'll jump on the car and kind of make sure, we might roll it on and off a couple of times, but make sure it's settled. Might push on the corner, like I'll push on the back a little bit. Well, you're on it. And now come look at it, it did move a little bit. Now we're at 50.0. That is perfect right now. I think I did it. All right, so we're off. Roll it back on. All right, that's centered, and that time is 49.7.
All right, so I'm going to explain weight jacking to you here, and this is why putting the car on the scales is important, because this car has a lot of camber and has a lot of caster, and so when you turn the wheel and you've got a lot of camber and caster in the car, what it does is on the front tires, it pushes a lot of weight down into the scale pad with the edge of the tire, and it jacks weight to the back of the car. So what we want is a cross weight, which is the left and right weight to be very even. And with Duane in the car right now, it's 49.9%. That's about as good as you get. And you can see my cross weights are 765, 723, 452, and 415. They're pretty close. So Duane, go ahead and dial in some wheel. So Duane just dialed in as if he's going around a left-hand turn. And you can see the cross weights immediately change. And this is that weight jacking effect. 480 to 428, and the cross weight changed to 48.3%. We're adjusting the car to where it's perfectly balanced in situ as we're going to be on the track. And you can see that those effects are big. So if your alignment is off on one corner or your caster is off on the other corner, as you turn left and right, the car doesn't turn the same left and right. And so what we're doing is we're calibrating the chassis to this cross weight so the car turns and performs exactly the same in left and right turns, and then brakes in a very straight line in a very controlled manner. So I've gone around and I've adjusted the ride height, and so this car is about 5 inches of ground clearance to the rocker panel, and since I added a muffler onto the passenger side and some exhaust piping, I need to make an adjustment. Now, what the car is telling me is this is the tallest corner right now, and it's also the heaviest corner with Duane in it. So I'm probably going to use this as my pivot point, because if you have 3 points of contact, they're all going to distribute the weight evenly. But when you do 4 points of contact like this, that's like a table with a short leg that rocks. And so a race car is always going to have a pivot point on one of the axes, left to right or front to rear. And so what you want to do is you want to get that table to kind of rock evenly and then set down, and that's how we get that corner balance there. And so once you get really close, you'll actually notice on the scale it'll rock one side to the other, and you might see the scale pad shift from 49.9 to 50.1 as it rocks over that axis. And so that's what we're going for next, is to get that as close as possible, because 49.5 is close but not good enough. All right, so I'm under the back of the car here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one adjustment. I added this muffler that's in right here, and so that added a little bit of weight to this corner, so it changed the balance of the car a little bit. So this is the lightest corner in the back, and I need to move a little bit of weight to the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the preload on this corner. What I'm going to do here is just open up this collar. I'm going to turn it up, I don't know, quarter turn, half a turn, and that should give me what I need. These are really nice. These are ground control. They're split collar, which makes the adjustments really easy. And so there, I just have to turn it a little bit. That's my adjustment. That's probably all I need to do, and we should be close. All right, so our cross weight is adjusted perfectly with me in the car. It was 50.0% the last time we checked it. So the next step we're going to move on to is you check your caster and your camber. Okay, so this one is still where I adjusted it last time. It's just above 2 1/4 on my mark. So I'll go ahead and I'll write C 2.3, and that's what I'm looking for here. And this number has come, and we've tuned this in based on our tire temperature. So we run a pyrometer on the tire pretty much every session, and so when the tires are 100 to 120 degrees, they're making their best grip, and then we get an even temperature profile across the tire and even wear on the tires when we do that. So that's how we came up with this number. This is the opposite rear corner, and it's a little bit short. It's about, it's got a little bit more with Duane in it, but I think I'm gonna pop this wheel off and make an adjustment. So I'm gonna dial this a little bit more camber in so it matches the other side. So this one probably actually slipped on the dyno or elsewhere because we've got too much camber, and this isn't going to be good. I just had the car dyno tuned, so strapping it down, towing it, that kind of thing, it's kind of hard on the alignment. So this one's off. I'm going to have to dial out camber here, and this one's still dead nuts at 3 degrees, just under 3 degrees actually. Interestingly, I dial the cambers in on the front just under maximum grip. And that makes the car slalom a lot better. So you can take that for what you will. So here I am with the old Zebco, and what I'm going to do is, now you can see that these aren't on the floor, what they actually do. You hang them on the car, and we're going to go around and we're going to make a parallel box to our hubs, and then we're going to do the wheel alignment to that parallel box. And this is called a string alignment. There are more elaborate setups than this, but this is the basics of what you need. And so you can get very, very accurate with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang this across. and then we're gonna go around with the giant calipers and my scale, and then we'll adjust this perfectly. So that's the next step. So all our cambers are even. The cross weight is exactly at 50% with me in the car. The cambers are even all the way around, so the car's almost done. So now all we have to do is just make sure all the wheels are pointing in the right direction, and the sucker's gonna handle perfect. So now we'll adjust the height front and rear to where these are the same distance vertically from the hub. And then, like I said, then we'll adjust them in and out to where the same distance horizontally. And then we'll go around and we'll measure the toe. All right, so this is a bit of the tedious process. So I'm going around and I'm adjusting each string position at each hub to the same height from the scale pad. And so you want to get this really close. Again, like we did earlier with the laser, you want this to be within like a millimeter. You can see I just barely touch the string, over it. And so each string is now adjusted to that. Vertically, the strings are perfectly flat. And so the next thing we want to do is we want to adjust the strings away from the hub. So I'll use my scale to do that. And then we're ready to do the alignment under the car and actually adjust the toe. So at this point, you get fired if you touch this frame. Like if you come out and you kick it or knock it out of alignment, you're fired, just go home. All right, so this is the car. F-bombs for the number of FTDs this car has. It's got plenty. It was the first front-wheel drive to win the Dishman Cup. It won the Bristol National Tour, the Georgia National Tour in 2023, 2024, and the Charlotte National Tour. We are headed to Lincoln with a perfectly corner balanced car, perfectly aligned, and we're hoping to do really well there. We don't think we have the best car, but we've got a good car. So if we drive really well, we might be in the top spot. So you might see a Lincoln sticker here next year, hopefully.
Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments if you want to see more technical stuff. I usually don't dive that technical into things, but Rob has a lot of insight, a very experienced driver, and he's an instructor as well. So if you guys like the technical videos and you want something more, like for instance we discussed doing a video for basic ways to be much quicker at autocross coming from Duane and Rob, who are both SDCA champions. So once again, a huge thank you to Rob and Duane for inviting me along and showing me around how to do all this stuff. One thing I do want to apologize for is the lack of content. I'll probably make a video on that just on itself because a lot's been going on, a lot of stuff moving around, and a lot of personal things. So there will be more content. I'll try to be more consistent going forward, but there's some big changes coming up, so stay tuned for those. Make sure you guys like and comment and subscribe and all that good stuff. Duane's videos from Nationals will be in the description with a link to his page, so make sure you check him out as well. And now we'll pretty much do it for this one. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.